Morning guys, it's Sean the EV bloke here, back with another video. I just thought I'd do my first sort of coldish day we had so far. I thought I might do a charging test and see if we get anything a bit different today. I've currently queued in a long test which will be outside of the range of the car, so that we can test that charging curve and also test how the navigation works in terms of routing us to the chargers along the route, and see how dialed in that is, because a lot of cars do this, which is why I was a bit surprised the BYD Atto 3 wasn't even doing it already, to be honest, from almost immediately. But the point there is that actually well, just to say the point there is really that a lot of cars have that facility, but they don't do it particularly well, in terms of, you can always fine tune it to be much better than it actually is. But as long as you've got some kind of system there, I think that's the starting point, and then with further updates, further over-the-air updates, that would help as well. On to 62 kilowatts now at 24%. So we're seeing that, I'm reckoning that's probably what we'll max out at now until we get to 30. 124%, as I say, 62 kilowatts, 58 minutes remaining to full charge. So yeah, that's one thing. I want to set up a mailing list as well. So I want to get kind of where I might offer some things on that emailing list, and just get an emailing list going so I can have more closer communication with you guys. And please do, I mean, I'm no expert, do you know what I mean? I just do these things by finding things out, really. I mean, some people send me emails, oh, thank you very much, you've really helped me there, but I'm just learning on the job as well. I'm just learning as I go along, to all of this. I'm not an automotive journalist, I'm not a mechanic, or I'm not, anyone in that kind of industries. I'm just an enthusiast for EVs, I just like them. I like the way they drive, I like the power, I like all of that stuff, and the technology, of course, as well. So I like all of that stuff on it. But really, the point I'm trying to make is, with all of this, is that I would like to build up a closer relationship with my subscribers, in the sense of working together with you guys because I know it's still a relatively new car, and also very much a new car to this country. I don't know how many BYD Atto 3s you see when you're out and about, but there's not so many, and even less I see of like the Seal and stuff like that. So I mean, they're still trying to make their way here in the country, so it's good for us to do videos on them still, and there's lots to still learn about the car. And like I say, when I do this test on the range, the range outside of its capacity, and see how well the navigation does in working with the car to sort of provide that, all the better. So that's, of course, another aspect of an important step in relation to that. Right, so we're 28. Let's just let you guys see what's going on here. 8% now, and it's up to 72%. So I'm actually wondering if the 20, if probably from the navigation point of view of going to the if you want to find out what I did with looking at how the routing system works, I've got a video up on the channel which went up there yesterday, I think, or the day before. That tells you all the breakdowns, and I gave some examples of what I think would be the best thing to do. But I'm actually thinking, even if you if you even go in at 20%, you're still going to be getting that 60-70, so it could still be worth it. Doing a 20 to sort of 82 might be worth it a bit more than, say, the 32. It's just you have to throw one off from the other in terms of the do you want the fast charging curve, and you're going to keep going to various chargers, or do you want to limit more charging, spend a little bit longer at at charging stations and have something to eat or whatever it might be, and come in at a lower state of charge and then charge much higher. It just depends on how you do it, really. I think in the end, for speed, to stick to the curve is probably the best way to do it. It's more stress on the car, of course, because you're just charging it at high power and then hitting the motorway, carrying on, pulling in. I mean, if you probably know Beyond Nyland, who's famous for his videos, his 1,000-kilometer challenges and stuff like that, and he overheats loads of cars by doing it that way. So but of course he's out there to stress test the cars and to see how they cope, so I don't actually have a problem with that. Well, we're on 78.8 kilowatts at 32%, and as I say, at 30 you should get the full whack. So it'd be interesting to see if we go up to the 88, 89 full sort of speed in a minute. We're on 76.5 there. But yeah, so that's one thing. Email, where I can keep in communication, better communication with you guys. Plus also I can let you know what's going on what's upcoming on the channel, so you're aware of it and you're more likely to tune in then. Sometimes I just record my videos and put them up and no one really knows they're coming up, you know, and that kind of thing. And yeah, it's gone up to 86 now, so it's 86.7 at 34%. So it's going to go on that fast curve now, probably till about 64 percent. Then it'll start ramping down into the 50s again, I should imagine. But we'll look at that closer when we get there. But yeah, so emailing list, and I want to do a few more live streams and connect with you guys, and maybe we can even do a meetup, you know, other Atto 3 drivers or other BYD drivers. Perhaps we could have a meetup sometime. I'm happy to organise that if that's something you guys would like to do as well. So so yeah, to me it's all about, yeah, helping just to understand the car more, but to have that kind of relationship where you feel really free to come to me and say, hey Sean, what about this, or do you reckon we can do that, have you thought about this, whatever it might be, you know. Drop it in the comments down below anyway, if there's anything you want to see done that's not been done on the car. I've got a lot of videos up there now, 40 or so videos about this car now, which is quite amazing really, that you'd think I could have 40 videos about this car, but there actually is. And I'm one of the few in the UK that I know of doing it, really. I mean, I get a lot of emails from people in Australia where there's quite a few people doing it, out east, America, a few as well. I think Americans are just kind of more interested really, because they don't have BYD out there right now, so they're just kind of more interested to see how the cars are and how they sort of play out really. So that's interesting. But yeah, so I have a lot of subscribers from various parts of the world, so they do email and say, you know, I even get some people say for me to put the subtitles on, because they're obviously not understanding the language, so it's reaching out, you know, and that's kind of interesting really. Although this isn't a car that is special as such in terms of, you know, it's a utilitarian vehicle really, which does its job, you know, and it does it reasonably well. Probably doesn't excel in very much apart from maybe efficiency, I would say, with the battery. I'm quite impressed with that. Even now it's a cool day, but we're getting the full whack speed in there. It's not cold, winter cold, but it's cooler than we've had it for, you know, some time now really today. And so we're getting 88.3. well, I mean, there we are, that's near enough the maximum now. We're getting at 40%, 52 minutes to fully charge. It's going to drop off somewhere with those amount of minutes left, but yeah, so that's really mainly what I wanted to speak about, you know, really was that. And then of course, moving forward, I might have to change the way I do the channel a little bit, maybe doing some more challenge type things with the channel, to make it a bit more interesting, and also to diversify a little bit from, you know, there's only so many educational videos you can do about this car really. I mean, you know, people just say, well, I've seen all that before in another video or whatever. So I'm not going to repeat myself too much. I've done it a few times, like with the V2L, because the V2L, the first time I'd done that one, was a bit of a mess up really. Didn't come out too well, so I wasn't that happy with it, so I wanted to kind of revise that, so that was worth doing another one for. And of course, whenever there's updates on the over the air, I tend to do videos about that, so just to show the new features and everything, like the one we just had. And of course, charging curves are important, because it's good to see. Obviously you do lose a lot of capacity in the winter to obviously get the range you were getting in the summer, and charging speeds are affected and all of that thing. So I want to see, because I got this car at the tail end of winter really, and it was a pretty mild winter at that time, so I've never seen this in really sub temperatures. So if we end up having a cold winter this year, I'll definitely do one or two charging curves or charging sessions with that, to just see what we're kind of getting, which will be a drop off, of course. It does have an intelligent engine management system, as they call it, battery system as they call it on the car, which pops up, which I think holds it at temperature, stops it from derating or whatever, because it's maybe getting too hot, the battery or whatever. I did have a question about do I just fast charge this car all the time, and the answer to that is actually no. I do have some AC charging, even though I don't have a home charger. It depends on how busy I am that week, or whatever's going on. But if I have the opportunity to do some AC charging, I do, to just take that bit of stress off the battery. But as I said, I did do a degradation test a little while ago, and to be fair, the results I had off of that was that this car is actually not really has got virtually no degradation on it. And I'm coming up to 10,000 miles now on the car, which is not high. Been close on a year of having it, of course. It's very average, but it hasn't really hurt the battery that much, you know. And it's quite interesting, because the Porsche Macan, which can charge absolutely like a beast, it can do over 300 kilowatts at 40-50%, and they're saying that they don't believe there'd be hardly any degradation even after a few years of having that vehicle, even though it's charging at that speed. So there may be some fallacies, I mean, that's got to be proved, but there may be some more fallacies about high fast charging as being damaging to the battery. The Blade battery is meant to be able to charge more times than any other battery, I think I'm right in saying. So it's pretty robust in that respect. But obviously, you know, ideally you want to be AC charging it if you've got a home charger, and you're just really doing the fast charging as and when you need it for speed or something or whatever, or you're actually going on a long trip, of course, where you're going to have to use fast chargers then. So it's not the ideal setup for me personally, but I at this moment in time can't have a home charger. That's another point. I'd love to have questions about what you've maybe found, if you've got any alternatives in your area that your councils are using, or public charging infrastructure is happening whereby there's a lot of availability for those that don't have home charging. So off-street sort of stuff. I just want to know what sort of off-street type of charging there is maybe in your area. I do communicate a bit with my council. They know about me, and I do communicate with them to sort of find out what's going on in the various areas. And the last update I had was they have a budget, and then they just have to prioritize it where the most need is, really. So we're kind of at that level. So where I am, which is a bit out of the town I live in, whether that would actually work or not, I don't know. But that's one thing to think about there as well. So yeah, if you've got any solutions, or if you've and this is another thing I might do with the channel, is get one or two people on that are CEOs and what have you with various charge companies, or are involved in the infrastructure of slow charging, and just see what kind of things are out there really, and where they're kind of, and how we can maybe get them into your area and stuff like that. Because this is something we're going to have to deal with, you know. We're going to have to tackle this head on, this business of 43% they roughly think of the population in the whole entire country won't have access to home charging. If you go into larger cities, there's loads of high rises There's loads of terraced housing, loads of just places where they just can't have a home charger. And so if you're talking about a 20-30 cut-off to petrol and diesel, and a push towards all electrification, that's going to have to be dealt with. I would say it should even be dealing with it now, and we should be starting to see a lot more of those options appearing and coming in to make it possible for people to have an electric car, because you can't leave people that don't have a home charger because of where they live as as a kind of exclusion to having an electric car. That would be wrong. So yeah, so that's got to be dealt with. But if you've got anything in your area like that, please do let me know. I'd love to hear from you, because that'd be interesting. Right, let's have a little quick look down at the gauge. Drops off that high curve. You get this ramp down into the 50s, which is what we'll probably see now till about 80%, and then it'll drop off again to about 30, into the 30s. That seems to be the rough curve this car has. So as I was saying, so I reckon 20 to 80% actually is probably not a bad way to road trip this vehicle. Anything less than 20% is not really going to make a lot of difference, help that much. But that's the quickest range. But it's on its highest curve really for about 30%, isn't it? So of 100% battery, 30% at its highest curve is a bit low. I'd like to see a bit more than that really, I guess, but there we are, that's where we're at with it. So, but it's getting 58 still, which is not that bad. I've seen it down into the low 30s by, low 50s by now normally. So it says 37 minutes to till fully charged, so 67% in there now. Yeah, interesting. Well, I don't want this to be a too long a video, but I just wanted to sort of share a few things. Sorry about my hand in the way there. I just wanted to share a few things really about the channel and about thanks to you guys. And like I say, if you know anyone who's getting this car, please get them to subscribe to me, so they can take the advantage of going over my catalogue. I'm going to catalogue my videos a bit more as well. Put them into some kind of like playlists, so it might make it a bit easier for people to find out what they want to watch when I get a chance. I've just got a few things to set up really, but yeah, so it's all good. I won't waffle on any more because we've still got another 35 minutes. I don't think you want me speaking for another 35 minutes, to be honest. I'm sure you don't. So what I'll do is I'll come back to you when we're getting near to fully charged, and we'll have a look at how things are going there in terms of what speeds we're getting. I don't see much of a drop off here from right in the summer really, if I'm honest. It's not much of a drop off. It still seems to be doing the same kind of curve, getting the same sort of speeds, roughly the same length of time to charge it. So at least at around about 10 degrees. Well, 10 degrees isn't that cold, is it? Let's be honest, but it's obviously much colder than the mid-20s and all that of summer, of course, so it's a fair decrease from that. Prior to getting here, drove my wife to work, potted around doing a few things, and then drove over here to the charger. So probably the battery was in a reasonable optimum state of warmth to actually be able to receive a higher charge, I guess. Be interesting if I just drove it from my house to here and just charged it up in minus temperatures, and I will do that and see what we get from that. Anyway, 70% is 58.2, still staying in the high 50s, 34 minutes to fully charged, and I'll be back soon, and we'll look at the results. Alright guys, so back again. I'm just about to hit 80%, so I might unplug soon, I think. Getting 57 kilowatts still, and there's a load of police turned up here at the garden centre. That's exciting, isn't it? There is in fact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 police cars. Interesting. Hope they're not here for me. But yeah, so there we go. Right, we're on 80%, so let's have a look at what's going on there with that. 80%, and we've got 57.8 kilowatts and still 25 minutes to go to get to 100. I'm probably going to just about unplug, really. That's good enough. 80% for me for the next few days. So yeah, but nothing else to really report regarding the car. The car it's doing really well, actually, if I'm honest. I've got no, I mean, I hear about a lot of cars being recalled for this, recalled for that, recalled for this, and this has gone wrong with their cars and that. But I mean, touch wood, but I've had absolutely nothing with this car. I mean, it's been brilliant in that regard. As I say, the only thing I would say is, but I think it's a fault on the way the system works, actually, which is the aircon. Obviously the temperature control of the vehicle tends to starve and draw and starve the cabin of its temperature to somehow cope with the temperature of the battery. So I noticed in the summer this was overheating in slow speeds, but I had a lot of people say the same thing. I don't think that's a fault with the car. I think it's a fault with the way the car's management system, battery management system, deals with the heat changes in the car. It's obviously got a heat pump fitted for the winter, but I did notice that if you're in stop-start traffic in the summer, this can start to get very hot in here, even if you've got it on high setting, which you probably noticed yourself. Put in the comments down below if you've been getting that situation as well. So, but other than that, yeah, so it's kind of okay. So anyway, I shall sign off here. It's up to 83% now, so that's good. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. The next one probably will be, unless there's anything comes up, is probably going to be a long road trip kind of a scenario where we see how the routing system works through the navigation, and we'll see how we can optimize it for its best for road trips and that kind of thing, and also just see how it basically manages us around that sort of a journey, really. So yeah, so catch you on the next one, guys. All the best.